Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Anand is still out of town, and I managed to rope in Shashwat to have a discussion with you guys today. Shashwat's always been mentioning about US stock markets and how there are companies we can look at buying. And if you are an avid investor and if you're looking at opportunities to buy into the American market, we thought we may be taking opportunities now and then to talk about American companies. So today, Shashwat's brought Microsoft, I think, if I'm right, to talk about Microsoft. And is Microsoft a good buy right now or not? Is what Shashwat's going to present to us. And let's hear what he has to say. It's all yours, Shashwat.
So, yeah, so Microsoft is a company almost everyone's familiar with. It's trading at about $315 on the NASDAQ index. So the
Hmm,
PE ratio is at around 35, and its dividend yield is 0.87 or something to that figure, something to that extent.
hmm,
So
hmm,
the idea with Microsoft is that I mean, most people know Microsoft for Windows, which is
hmm,
your operating system. But
hmm,
and a lot of us are also familiar with that screen which pops up on the computer which says, "Please activate your license." But what most people don't realize Microsoft is as a company is that it's much more expansive than what you think it is. It's much the what Microsoft covers in terms of its span of business is way beyond just Windows 10 or Windows 11. It's a lot more. So I want to be covering that.
correct.
So the first thing I want to look at are its numbers.
Hmm,
Microsoft has an extensive free cash flow. This thing has extensive free cash flow because first thing is that it doesn't have a lot of capital expenditure because it's
hmm,
a tech company. It's a software company. It's not like Tata Steel or it's not like an industrial company per se. So it doesn't
hmm,
require a huge capital expenditure for it to be able to function, which yields
hmm,
it into a good free cash flow amount, which lets
hmm,
them invest in multiple bets. But we'll come
hmm,
to that. It has a
hmm,
high return on equity. Last year, it had a return on equity about 47%, and
hmm,
its market capitalization is huge. But we don't have to look at market capitalization right now. I think it's just
hmm.
behind Apple in terms of market capitalization.
Correct.
So if we look at the history of Microsoft, it's the fact that they started off with Bill Gates, where he was selling software to Altair, and now in 1981, then you had the MS-DOS, which Bill Gates bought for about $50,000, and MS-DOS was supposed to be the sort of quick and easy operating system hack for IBM and IBM-like computers, and he was actually
Correct.
selling DOS to IBM. So,
Yes.
and after which we saw that most of the companies, at least to some extent, had DOS running. And about 1990 was when Microsoft created the Office suite. And there's a nice documentary about Microsoft and Windows if people are willing to learn more about it. So after the
Hmm,
Office suite came out, it
hmm,
basically exploded the widespread use of Office. And in
hmm,
1995 was the monumental mark when you had Windows 95, which was the
hmm,
first graphic user interface, and you
hmm.
had the proper graphic user interface, which all of us recognize as your operating system. So it had
Correct.
your recycle button, it had your start button, it had your desktop, and all those things. So
Hmm,
finally, you moved on to the era of the Windows operating system, and it became more of a personal computer sort of situation. And
hmm.
in the mid 90s, you also had something called Netscape. And all of
Correct.
this is beyond my birth. Like I was born into the era of Google, not Netscape. But I'm sure you'll be able to tell us more about that. But Netscape was the first way for you to be able to navigate the internet, and then Internet Explorer was launched, came bundled
Correct.
with Windows, and it sort of just killed off Netscape. So after which Microsoft has expanded on its Office suite with PPT, Excel, with all your other those things. And another thing is that it also bought LinkedIn and it bought Skype. So these are also companies which it brought under its fold. And since 2014, cloud computing has been its biggest business so far in terms of driver of growth. So with the coming of Satya Nadella, but it was set up by his predecessor, Steve Ballmer. So the Microsoft business can be divided into about three segments. So the first
Hmm,
segment is your productivity and business processes. So this segment basically includes your Microsoft Office suite. It also includes your LinkedIn. and it includes Dynamics, which is basically the consulting program, which offers cloud-based solutions, server products. And this segment is a medium growth segment, and it's a segment which we all use, and it's one with a moat because even though you have stuff like Google Docs,
Hmm.
it's no replacement. At least personally speaking, for college work, it's been no replacement for Excel and Microsoft Word. And I guess,
Hmm.
what do you think about that?
That's very true. There
Yeah,
are lots of
and
spreadsheet software. Lotus was there from way back, but none of them can knock off the domination of Microsoft Office and Office suites. And
right, and
all these other guys have tried different methods of trying to knock Excel and Microsoft off by saying give it free, give it like this, give it like that. It's just that everyone's used to Excel. It's not that Excel is anything special. It's just that
yeah,
since Excel's been first mover advantage, everybody just speaks Excel. It's like speaking English. Everybody speaks
yeah,
English. Just because we,
and
yeah, you were rightly saying. Right, continue.
no. So you're right in the sense that but I also feel like in terms of functionality, I feel like Excel just offers a more robust set of tools than the other platforms do. Because even with Google
It's
Docs
arguable.
and Excel, yeah,
It's
okay, fair,
arguable in the sense that because you're familiar with Excel. The problem for
yeah,
Google Docs and all these other guys is that you speak Excel language, and they can't
yes,
outright copy Excel. Then they'll get into a lawsuit. So what
yes,
the only option is they have all the tools like Excel, but you have to sit and bother to learn it. And why would you learn something when you get it in Excel already? As a consumer, why would you? What's your motivation to learn?
fair.
There's nothing special
Um,
in learning Google Docs.
yeah. I mean, you the skills sort of transfer, but you're right in the sense that you're already so used to Word and Excel. There's no point just making that jump.
And
And
another problem they have is majority of the world uses Excel. So if you make
yes,
something in Google Docs and you send it to the rest of the world and you expect the rest of the world to understand and use it, if it's already
it's
in
not gonna
Excel, it
happen.
makes their life easier and your life easier. If you give it in
And
Google Docs,
interestingly enough, the extension for the file itself was originally coined by Microsoft, like your XLS and your DocX.
yes,
All of these are
yes,
they were invented. I mean, they were first brought into the picture by Microsoft itself.
they set the
So
standards.
Google is
Yes,
exactly. And the second segment for Microsoft, which is their fastest growing segment, which is their cloud operations.
as you were saying, Shashwat, about Microsoft
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
power of
Um,
cloud computing.
Yeah, so the second segment, which is their fastest growing segment, is their cloud computing segment. So,
Hmm,
or their cloud operations.
hmm,
This has generated $60 billion in revenue in the past year, and
hmm,
it accounts for about 36% of their revenue. And it has your SQL, which is a database coding software, SQL servers, and it has Azure, your cloud storage, cloud computing, and also has enterprise services. So SQL and Azure are sort of self-explanatory, and Azure is supposedly the gold standard in cloud computing. I'm not really sure about that because I don't have first-hand experience using Azure, but it's touted to be one of the best in the business. And as for the enterprise services, it's also this segment, which is the consulting arm for deploying cloud solutions. So this is the fastest growing segment, your cloud computing segment, and it's grown by 26%, and Azure in particular has grown over 50%. So the third segment, which you come up to in their operations, is your Xbox, your Microsoft OS, and your
correct.
Bing search advertisement. And now that they have their Bing AI, I'm pretty sure things are going to change in the upcoming year. But anyway, this
True.
segment is also accounts for about a third of their revenue as well. So finally, when it comes to these three segments, it looks like Microsoft has a huge spread, and it doesn't seem to be too focused on your Windows anymore. Nor does it seem to be too focused on Microsoft Office Suite as well. You can remove any one of these three legs, and they'll still have two other legs to stand on. Look, is what it looks like so far. And if you look at its performance, when since its IPO in the 1980s, Microsoft
Hmm.
has converted $10,000 into over 20 million. At the, I mean, not I don't know the sum exactly, but over $20 million because CAGR has been over 20% over the period. So that's a huge amount of return which Microsoft has been able to give its investors. And there was a period, however, Microsoft had a lost decade. So there was the 2000s dot-com bubble, and Microsoft's
Mm.
PE was about 75 back then. And by the year 2005, their PE fell to 20, and by 2011, it fell to 10. If you had put your money in during the bubble, you would have essentially lost about half of whatever money you had put in. So if you had put in $10,000, roughly, you would have lost about $5,000 or more. So
True.
this again cautions. This is where the lessons from Howard Marks comes in, that no asset is a great asset at all prices, right? So that's
Correct.
something which
This is
is
where the
which
problem for investing in Microsoft for me is. Is it the
yeah,
price? Everything you say is absolutely true. No doubt about it. Going forward, the companies are not going to disappear anywhere. Going forward, there is growth. Going forward, there is revenue. And they're cutting into new innovation. Correct. I agree with all what you said. But the problem is
it's priced in.
the price correct? Is it at a point where the margin of safety, the intrinsic value of the company, is above the pricing point where it is in the market? I don't know about that. I
Yeah.
feel maybe it's a little too expensive. Maybe you can wait. Since we are
I-
expecting some kind of major correction to come, it is something you keep on your watch list. Or like Anand Mama says, you can put some Starbucks money into it instead of tea, coffee money. If you are drinking Starbucks, you can probably put some Starbucks money on it. I don't know. Even
The
Starbucks money is a lot because I think what's the price of the share now?
about $315.
Yeah, so $315 is a lot. It's more than a
That's a lot
share.
of money.
Good Starbucks money. It's
That's
more like
more.
what?
That's around twenty
It's
four
more
thousand
like
bucks, $25,000.
yeah, it's more like a summer holiday money you want to throw into it.
Yeah.
So I don't know because it will be painful. But the problem is there because let's say you do decide to enter Microsoft now with conversion of the rupee into the dollar and looking at everything. You're talking about per share coughing up individually, per share coughing up about around what? 24,
Twenty-five thousand
28,000,
dollars.
yeah, 25. So let's
Yeah.
say a conversion this, that. You're talking about 28,000 rupees here, plus or minus.
Yes.
So per share. And let's say that corrects, next year.
Be very
We
painful.
talk about correction always like for a year's time. And let's
Yes.
say within a year it corrects and
By ten
drops
percent
by
maybe.
10% or worse, 20%. Would be able to stomach it. Watching something you
Yeah.
bought for 28,000 rupees drop down to below 20,000 rupees. Will you be able to stomach it and keep still buying? It's very hard for a nascent investor to look at it like that. So I would caution if you're a investor who's just starting, just getting into it, think about it, keep it on your watch list, maybe wait for a better pricing point. I don't know, maybe I'm too cautious. What do you think, Shashwat? Am I too cautious or what would you advise?
See, the thing is that it was even cheaper in the past year. I think, and
True.
it's like rallied up, and now it's trading at around $315 only because, well, not only because, of course, but partly because of the AI boom, which is a lot of the companies which have anything to do with the word AI has done extremely well. It's blown up. So your
Yes,
Google,
yes.
your Microsoft, your Nvidia, all of these companies. So the idea is that with your Bing AI, which Microsoft rolled out, and they're trying to play dice with artificial intelligence, and they've been trying to go in that route. There's been a lot of hype around it. I'm not sure how much of it is hot air and how much of it is truly. And I wonder whether Microsoft's growth, even if it's AI powered, is going to justify a PE of 35, which is quite expensive.
Very
35
expensive.
price to earnings of 35 is for a huge growth company. I mean, yes, Microsoft is definitely a growth company even at its size now, but
Yes,
I
and I
wonder
think it's also
whether
because of the Activision deal. Them
yes,
trying to buy Activision, which I don't know, it's still in limbo, that deal. I think some of the pricing, which has increased the pricing of Microsoft, is because of the Activision deal also.
yeah,
Because if they manage to swallow that, that's going to put Xbox in another solar system altogether.
altogether, yeah,
Yeah, people like Sony will going to find it very hard to compete with them because a lot of Sony games are Activision, which are really popular, and they'll all come under Microsoft. And
yeah.
Microsoft will be, taking all the subscription into Microsoft.
Where,
So it's all
where
that is also pricing into the share price, which is pushing the share price up. So I don't know if this price point with all the buzz around AI and Activision, I don't know. So if Activision deal goes through and they're able to, monetize this AI into something of another third, fourth, fifth stream of revenue for them, then
yeah,
yes, the price point makes a lot of sense because going forward, their earnings are going to go through the roof. But let's say a year from now, the Activision deal is in stalemate and AI fizzles out with lots of regulations coming in from all the governments around the world, which looks like it might happen, and it gets into a chokehold. Then you've bought into a company which was too high of a pricing, and then it corrects at that point of time when they don't see the earnings where it is. And American markets are not like Indian markets. They're very price sensitive, earning sensitive. If they don't see the earnings, they dump the share. It's not like in India
Right.
where though the earnings is not there, miraculously the shares are still being held up because there are players, domestic institutional players, who are pushing the price up and holding it up. In America, there
Yeah.
is no safety net pushing things up and holding it up. If they feel the investors feel like okay, this is trash, they throw it out immediately.
Right.
So that can be very painful. And those, we're not talking about market corrections here. We're talking about single share corrections, and those can be quite deep and very painful. The American market may not correct, but the individual shares really drop and correct. So if you do invest, be cautious of all that and keep a track of it and be ready for stomaching it all. But in a long term, if you're looking as a value investor, you're looking at it in a long term. It is a great company to own. I don't think it's at the right price to enter though. What do
Yes.
you feel about this?
Yeah, no, you're right in the sense that it has a lot of the green flags. The only thing which is the problem is that I think there are better alternatives in terms of the PE ratio and free cash flow ratio and your dividend yield. You're getting a 0.87% dividend yield. I don't think that's justifiable for a company which is sitting on so much cash, which is just entering into the company. Either you show me the growth or you give me some of that earnings which I'm making. With a company like ITC, okay, you're not able to show me growth company levels of CAGR, but you can definitely give me you can kick back a certain amount of the earnings, and that's what
Correct.
makes ITC so valuable to us because it's like an FD. But
Correct.
Microsoft is a company which, yes, it has the potential to show that growth, but it's not giving us any other benefits apart from the fact that okay, yes, it's a strong company. That's pretty much
Correct.
what we're working on.
Correct. So it is interesting. I would say Microsoft should be on everybody's watch list. I'm sure most people have it on their watch list, but
Yeah.
I would say wait for a better pricing is my advice.
And if Powell keeps jacking interest rates and if he does continue to raise interest rates currently, I think we should definitely be able to snag Microsoft and other companies which we'll discuss in the future at much lower PEs than they're trading
Correct.
at currently.
And there are lots of short-term market shocks which are going to come. Let's say they mess up, they fumble around with the debt ceiling. You know,
Yes.
that gives markets a spook. Or something happens with the aggressive Ukraine war which is going on. America is more aggressive in supplying arms and planes now to Ukraine. Russia takes offense to it. Something aggressive happens short term. Markets will get spooked. And those
Even
times, yeah,
AI regulations will definitely correct the price.
correct. It will spook the markets, and that time it's a great time to dive into it. Right now, I
Right.
feel American stock markets are going through a greed cycle. They seem to be very greedy. They're investors, so I would say wait.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a wonderful company at a PE of 25 maybe or even 20.
correct,
But 35 seems a bit too much to be
correct.
asking for the story they're offering right now.
Yes, I absolutely agree. As
And
an
I
Indian
think,
invest-
yeah,
as an Indian investor, looking at the volume of money you have to dole out, I would say hang on, wait.
yeah. The thing with Indian investors, though, we have about a 2 to 3 P multiple buffer because of our exchange rate disparity. So even if you buy it, let's say at 26 or 27 PE instead of 25 PE, you're still going to do as well as your US counterpart who bought it at 25 because of the exchange rate disparity. But the only thing I'd say is that it's better to wait for the correction and then snag it at a much lower price than
Absolutely. And the
currently.
problem, even if you talk about this disparity in pricing because of the rupee dollar change, as an investor, we are value investors. We're not doing day trading. So when we buy
Yes.
into it, we're going to hold on to it for dear life for quite a long time. So if you buy it at the wrong price, like Anand Mama always says, you buy Tata Steel at the wrong price, you feel really crappy about it for a very long time. If you
Yes.
bought Tata Steel at 1,200, 1,300, you'd be burning. So I don't know if Microsoft is at that price. Even if you
Yeah.
bought it with that exchange rate, that's ways to soothe your soul if you bought it at the wrong price.
Yeah.
But you're still going to be burning because you ain't going to be
Yes.
selling it. You're not going to be
Yeah.
buying it, selling it from a year from now unless something catastrophic happens,
Yeah.
personally or globally. You're not going to be selling it. You're going to be holding on to it for some time. So I would say, think about it. That would be
Yeah.
my advice.
And there are much better companies, which much better in the sense in terms of pricing, which we'll be discussing in the future. So maybe stay in tune for that and hold off on
Yes.
this.
Yes, as Shashwat rightly said, today we spoke about Microsoft. Since you guys find this kind of content interesting, we will dive into another company, American company, very shortly and very soon, and we'll talk about more about that. Thank you for watching Be Rich today. I hope you enjoyed our video. Please do subscribe to our video and turn on the bell notification so you get notified when we come up with new videos. And thank you again for watching Be Rich today.
We had a meeting in Singapore. I was very pleased with the results. Indians received me with great love and affection, and I enjoyed my time in Singapore. The meeting was a big success, and I could meet up people from various walks of life. I miss going to Kuala Lumpur, which is very close to Singapore, just 4 hours drive, and I have been asked to come there. So my team decided on the 11th of June, Sunday, we would do an event in Kuala Lumpur. If you would like to meet me in Kuala Lumpur, kindly send a message at the WhatsApp number given below and or drop a mail to the mail ID given below. My team would contact you at earliest. Once again, I thank you for your support for Be Rich. It's a great privilege and honor that so many of you in thousands have subscribed to my channel and have supported me. I have written 2 books in English, The Alchemy of Money and Ordinary Stocks, Extraordinary Profits. These books are published by us and are ready. If you want to procure a copy, send us a message to the WhatsApp number given below and my team would respond to you. If you want an Amazon Kindle copy, you can click the link below. Finally, those who wish to consult with me can send a mail to berichenglish@gmail.com. Once again, I thank you for your support. If you like this video, press the subscribe button of my channel, hit the like button and turn on the bell notification.